Welcome to the Winner's Circle, everybody. I'm here with Anna Nielsen. She is VP of Product Marketing and Product, for Anteriad. Anteriad is a very cool platform. They've won a Stratus Award for Cloud Computing and now a Sammy Award for Marketing and Sales and Marketing. So it has a little bit to do with the cloud and a little bit to do with sales and marketing. Anna, welcome to the show. Please give us a little bit of background about Anteriad and a little bit of background about you.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. I'm Anna Nielsen. I'm VP of Product for Anteriad. I run our strategy and lead our strategy and execution of that strategy for our Anteriad Marketing Cloud platform. Anteriad is a B2B focused marketing services and data company. We're helping marketers activate activate audiences and orchestrate campaigns across all of your major media platforms. Um,
Yeah, I know a little bit about your platform from obviously I've been in B2B marketing for a while, and we were talking earlier that you guys seem to be one of the very few who connects all the dots from, from the entire life cycle of getting that kind of prospect kind of identified all the way through into, the CRM, into analytics, into all the stuff to get them into our tools that sales wants to use, marketing wants to use, and down into deal closure, I think. So you guys have really connected all of that, not only in terms of tools, but people. So give us a little bit of an overview of like kind of that customer experience.
so our customers are really coming to us for the quality of data to back up those campaigns that we then are offering them the option to either, here's the data, here's the audience, go run the campaign. You've got a team internally that knows how to run and orchestrate campaigns across all of your marketing channels. Or, you know what, we'll do that for you. We will help you generate leads, qualify those leads, and go ahead and do some branding with some programmatic advertising as well. And then we're, using our Anteriad marketing platform to orchestrate all of that and to give our customers a window into that orchestration, and then out the back end, the reporting of that out of the end of the campaign, a sort of account level view of what were your engagements across all of your different channels for a given account that you're marketing to.
Yeah, and for anybody who's been off the world of marketing for a while, we've moved on from CRM, which is kind of that database of contacts that
Hmm.
we all are kind of used to the kind of this new term ABM, which is account-based marketing. So especially in enterprise accounts, which I spent most of my career, is you're trying to get into, Coca-Cola. And
Hmm.
there's lots of ways to get into Coca-Cola, right? You can get into Coca-Cola locally, nationally, through a partner. So you guys are kind of tracking that, all the way across that account.
Yeah. So a big trend, if you will, in B2B marketing that has been talked about for a long time, but we're just now starting to see more and more traction against this in the industry is this concept of account based marketing, which has been around a little longer. You want to market to the account, but also this concept of the buying group. And that's this idea that you're not just marketing to an account, you're marketing to people at an account. And anymore, the decisions to make a purchase out of business are getting more and more complex. So, we're seeing anywhere, I've seen numbers all over the place, but anywhere from 5 to upwards of 15 people can influence or make the decision to actually purchase a product.
Yeah, I'm thinking about working in, kind of B2B marketing even. There were at least 5 people on every kind of major decision. Anything
Hmm.
over, a certain dollar value, especially on the technology front and what you guys are doing, it's you're touching so many pieces of the business. It's really got to be reassuring for your customers to know that kind of you got them covered in case one of those
Yeah.
angles falls down. I mean,
Mhm.
I've built out channels like you're talking about, and it's a month-long, year-long type of endeavor to get it going correctly.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of marketers, talked to a lot of marketers where this concept of marketing to everyone in that group, it exists. They know they should be doing it, but just that execution of it is difficult and cumbersome and too much of an uphill battle to really get to. So now, with new technology, we're starting to see that actually be adopted because the technology, the AI exists now to be able to identify who are those individuals in a given account and how do we reach them? How do we reach them at the right time with the right message?
Yeah, well, and you guys have focused a lot on that. I think you
Hmm.
won some awards for that. Walk us through that, because this is the new kind of language that we're talking about inside of ABM, and inside of those people is intent, right? The
Hmm.
AI is now predicting your intent and kind of, whether you're kind of in the market for whatever product, service offering that is out there, right?
Yeah, at Anteriad, we have a specialized B2B focused intent feed. We're processing somewhere in the neighborhood of about 50 billion intent signals a week. And then we can layer that onto our rich firmographic data to tell you who is in market, who is likely, making a purchase decision, and help our customers prioritize those accounts accordingly so that you're not spending time when a buying cycle might be 18 months, you're not, spending time in the wrong part of that cycle, time and money on that account.
No, and this is better for everyone. I keep talking to people kind of that are doing solutions like yours where, this is better for everybody, because you're not gonna, as a consumer,
Hmm.
if you're on the other end of that, you're not getting annoyed with messages and calls and contact points and ads or whatever when you're not in market.
Hmm.
If you do not have budget, you are not in market. Maybe we're getting
Yeah.
there and we're building a strategy, but that's a different message than,
Hmm.
than the other intent. So it's really interesting to see this come about. And I want to back up because you said the number quickly, which
Hmm.
was 50 billion signals a week. So, and I imagine that's growing as more data becomes available.
That's growing as we add countries, as we add topics. We're sitting around, I think, 11,000 topics right now, adding more, typically on a quarterly basis. So that's a growing number. And we've got all kinds of processes running in the background to recognize trends among those signals, because not all signals are going to be created equal. So, we're looking at what trends in a signal indicate that that intent is growing and maybe nearing a place where you would want to engage that account that is showing intent on your product category, on maybe even your product specifically, versus what is just noise. The past couple of years, there's been a lot of noise in AI as an intent topic. Everyone's researching AI. So, how do we distill down who's actually in market for some kind of AI solution?
Yeah, and you guys have been doing this, kind of using AI from the beginning of it. So you've kind of gestated all of this data and kind of
Hmm.
processed it. I imagine as you scaled, it was just building upon it. So you've got this rich depth of knowledge now too, where you see the patterns.
Yeah, we see the patterns. We look at not just the strength and the number of signals, the recency of that signal, and directionally, how is that changing for a given account?
So for sales and marketing people, this is like, nirvana, right? It's good. Well, it gives you priority, right? For a salesperson, I
Mhm.
now have prioritization on my funnel,
Exactly.
regardless of where you are in that sales process, whether you're in the beginning, middle, or end of it. If you're trading hands. And from a marketer, you're not bothering people when they don't want to be bothered, and maybe you're sending more educational content and more, that type of stuff, and you can really kind of dial in those audiences to kind of build long-term value for those relationships.
For a marketer, you're seeing much greater return on investment from these campaigns that are run with intent data combined with perhaps some of your data from your CRM or from your MAP, from your marketing platform, to really layer that data together and understand which of the accounts that I'm already talking to, maybe should I be engaging, which of the accounts that I haven't talked to in 6 months might be good to go re-engage right now. And you're able to see a much higher ROI and ultimately much higher conversion there because of that.
Oh yeah, and like as a management layer, You're now layering in intent data with kind of that prediction model of whatever CRM system you're using, and the
Hmm.
stages of the sales cycle. If now you've got them to this stage, you're at a 50% likelihood. Now with intent data, you're really able to kind of dial that in. I would imagine even more in sales. The management team, CEOs, got to love this. Going like, how much of it is real?
Well, I think that how much of it for real speaks for itself when you're, delivering those closed won accounts, those closed won opportunities. And as a, marketer, when you're hitting a better return on investment, you're showing that your dollars are being spent wisely, efficiently, and you're not, wasting perhaps budget or effort on accounts that maybe aren't in market right now or aren't as high of value.
Yeah, no, you guys are really in an interesting space because all of this is getting, very AI and very automated and very smart very, very quickly. You guys have been around for more than a few years now doing this in a very smart way. You've always been described as kind of AI driven. What does that mean as the product marketing person, as the product manager of this cloud? What does that mean to you?
So we've been very cognizant of using AI where it matters. We don't want to be just slapping in AI features for AI's sake in a platform. I think we've all seen plenty of that in the market with all kinds of different platforms where everything has to be AI now. So we're just going to slap AI on it and call it AI. Um, so we've been looking at what areas does AI actually move the needle. Some of that's going to be, we talked about those buying groups. Just identifying the right people at an account is a cumbersome task. And now we're able to layer AI in there to look at a target account, or look at categorically sort of a target type of business. Maybe I'm targeting medium sized businesses with over 10 million in revenue and say at these businesses, these are the typical people that as a marketer I want to reach because they're going to be making the decision about this product that I'm selling.
Yeah. Well, and not to mention, I would imagine that that AI engine is also helping you kind of get the data junk out.
Yeah, it's
You know, I mean, people don't realize, as marketers, it's always funny because the conversation goes something like this. Sales says we need more leads. Marketing says, okay. And then we buy a list and we give them leads and they're all bad according to sales, right? And
right.
so what happens is those 20% of any list you ever bought was bad immediately because people move and die
Yeah.
and change jobs and change roles and change
Hmm.
names. And so just that stuff alone. And then you talk about, moving industries, industry knowledge, layering in that depth of knowledge really gets kind of interesting into that persona level targeting that you're talking about.
There's AI processes that are running in our background to clean that data. There's also manual processes running in that background, or running back there to really make sure that those contacts that we have, those people, that individuals that we're actually marketing to, be it through a demand generation campaign, through a programmatic campaign, are actually valid. Um, so that's, that quality is a big part of who we are at Anteriad.
You guys, this product is kind of disrupting a lot of big icons in the market. You've got Microsoft and ServiceNow and Salesforce in there and
Hmm.
HubSpot and everybody else. How do you build those product capabilities, those enterprise level product capabilities in such a nimble kind of way?
Because we are, marketing services, maybe not at our core, but because we are marketing services, and we take a service based approach, that means that we are able to customize based on what is that customer looking for, and how do we align to what they're doing internally, if they are doing anything internally or with other partners that they're using.
Yeah, it's in my experience, it's always been one of those things of you pick a platform, one's real easy for you to manage, but then you've got to manage
Hmm.
it. and the other's impossible to manage, and you got to pay somebody to manage it. And
Yeah.
it's great to see kind of that mix of both, and to have the service layer on top.
Yeah, so we don't shy away from giving our customers access to the platform, but we also have, a customer success team sitting there with them developing the strategy out of that platform. The customer really gets the insight in Anteriad Marketing Cloud into what is their campaign doing at any given hour of the day, what intent topics do they have. They can go in, play with data, and understand, what does a potential audience look like. But when it comes to executing those managed services, we've got, a team of campaign managers for each of those managed services, as well as a, team of customer success representatives, that are tying that all together to make the overall strategy work for our customers.
Yeah, you've got to have somebody running point.
Mhm.
You
Yep.
absolutely do.
Yes, you
Now,
do.
you mentioned a bunch of client kind of successes and seeing the successes in deals won. Walk us through a couple of, not names, but, kind of
Mhm.
ones where you're like, ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah. So we had one large excuse me. We had one large enterprise client that I can think of, or that I'd single out, I guess. Who they were dealing with a challenge that a lot of B2B marketers face. So they had a large amount of data, but their models that they had built internally, they weren't converting. People were just sort of tuning out their emails, their demand generation efforts, and all of their marketing campaigns. So we went in and took, what they had built, layered our intent data and our analytics on top of that. And from there, we were able to say which accounts are actively researching those solutions, even if maybe they haven't interacted with you in, you know, 6 months and a year. Maybe they haven't come to your website. Maybe they haven't taken and opened any of your emails or interacted with you in a way that you've recognized. We've recognized elsewhere that they are looking for your solution. Now would be a good time to go re-engage them. And that customer, with that effort of just layering that intent data on top and using it to analyze their accounts, was able to see a 32x return on investment. And I think 75% of those opportunities that came out of that were net new business for them. So
There we
those
go.
are,
So
for a
uh,
marketer, that's a big
uh,
deal.
32X ROI, that's pretty good. And what was
Yeah.
the other stat? Sorry, say it again.
75% of those opportunities that came out of that were net new
So
business.
all new business. So
Yeah.
30%, 30 times new business.
Mhm. So that's those leads aren't bad leads anymore,
No,
because you hit them at the right time and you focused on the right leads, the right accounts.
I see it in our business. We do a lot of email marketing, and
Mhm.
we see people who don't click for years, don't open for years, and then all of a sudden re-engage. We know it's
Mhm.
part, sometimes it's tools and stuff that are sending bad signals, but it happens with all of us, right? We get interested in something, we go away for a while, and we come back because it's in the back of our brain or
Yeah.
whatever.
Or
And
you
sometimes
didn't
those
have
billboards
budget and
along
now
the
you do.
highway work,
Mhm. So
or those
so
shower moments we have where we're like, oh,
yeah, exactly. Really what we're trying to get to is telling our customers, these are the people that are in market right now, and this is how you should engage them.
yeah, it's super smart. So 2026, I guess 2025 was kind of the year of AI. I would call it for everybody
Mhm.
else. You guys have been in it a long time. What's on the 2026 roadmap?
I hate to say it, but more AI. um, so, we're looking at how does AI make optimizations to workflows, both internally for those managed service teams and for our customers. And then we're looking at how does AI make that campaign execution even more intelligent. So, I was talking about with identifying the right people at an account. How do I know that at a specific account, or categorically at an account, that I want to target a director of marketing versus a VP of marketing versus the CMO? Which one of those three is the decision maker? And using AI to be more intelligent about that, And then further out, using AI as the next step to determine what's the right message for that person, so that you can really personalize marketing to a greater degree than you really ever have been able to. We've seen um, these sort of personalization tactics and engines and concepts around for a while. I remember back in my days as a marketing practitioner, seeing platforms that could take a programmatic ad and tailor that based on maybe someone's location, or some different pieces of metadata like that. um, we're looking at how do we use AI and take that to another level, and having conversations about that, and about what areas does, like I said, what areas does AI make sense and move the needles versus what areas is it just the AI hype that we see everywhere.
Yeah, it's going to be so interesting because there's so many different places we can kind of almost put little AI. I call them agents, but little AI
Hmm.
agents or a little program to say go do this one specific thing, and it's
Yeah.
um, it's really going to change the way all these tools work
Hmm.
and how we're messaged, for sure.
It's going to help marketers select the right piece of content of their library. Even how do you match that library of all that content that you've delivered to the right person to see that.
Yeah. You guys won for kind of this insight analytics, and I know it's all kind of
Hmm.
AI driven. The other thing I think you guys, one of the claims was 100% reduction in reporting turnaround times, which I know coming out of that world was always something you struggled with because it was somebody's job to pull reports
Yeah.
usually, and that person, God help them, because it was, if you're end of month, you're like, oh, it's like tax man every day. Um,
Hmm.
and so you guys have kind of changed the model of kind of almost putting reporting first.
Yeah, we take an approach of what reporting does the client need and how are we providing that. We have a plan for how to provide that, I guess you could say. Um, we're also taking the approach of the report shouldn't be pulled on a campaign by campaign specific basis. That report needs to give you insight into all of your marketing activities, because hitting, the director of sales with 3 programmatic ads doesn't matter if you didn't also, hit someone else on his team with an email perhaps. That's maybe not the best example, but, um, it's that cross-campaign report and m that engagement tracking of how did you engage the account across all of your activities.
Yeah, I remember hearing the story of Google doing this in the early days with proximity.
Mhm,
Dad would search for a kayak, and
mhm,
then the other people in the house would start getting ads for kayaks.
mhm.
Right, it's like, "Oh,
Oh,
it's so weird, I got ads for kayaks." Well, yeah, you're in the same place using the same internet connection. And somebody's
yeah,
searching for kayaks, so they're spewing for kayaks, and it's more than that,
yeah,
right? We're now looking for the right buyers, we're not spewing for
mhm,
kayaks. I did a presentation once to explain how kinda cookie targeting worked to the
mhm,
masses, and I called it, "Why does that pair of shoes follow you around?" Because the kayak or the pair of shoes follows you around, and
mhm.
so we're getting way better than that now.
We're getting better than that. Your kayak story, I guess, goes even wider, where, especially in concentrated neighborhoods, IP addresses will rotate. So now my neighbor searched for something and I'm getting ads for it. So we're starting to get more intelligent at how do we target the right person. And, yeah, you are still going to get some noise if you're on the same IP. We also look at, what business do you belong to, and that's where a lot of this data comes in, is to sort of triangulate um, who is the right person to be targeting and make sure that we are accurately targeting that person. And especially in the day and age of hybrid and remote work, how are we targeting that person and not their spouse, not their 3-year-old on a tablet, you know?
Well, the interesting thing, the kayak example is not a bad one because if you think about it in that household, you know, the husband and wife or spouses would usually talk
Mhm.
about a purchase like that. Your neighbor might have something to say about you in a kayak. So it's, you know, you know, your buying influence around, you know, personal products is kind of,
Yeah,
you know, in your home. So
and the
it's not,
influence matters too,
yeah.
you
Hey,
know?
Dad, I want a kayak. Oh, that's funny. So yeah, it is interesting. Yeah, where the as your buyer group, as you put it.
Yeah, there's for some household purchases, there's a buying group or a buying committee too, you know?
But
So
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, Anna, this has been a pleasure talking with you and getting the kind of the update on where we are in the ABM, CRM, B2B world. Let's throw some more acronyms at it and see if they stick. But yeah, it's really been a pleasure talking with you and getting that
Mhm.
update. And congratulations on all the success and wins that you guys are having.
Yeah, thanks, Russ. We've worked hard for them, and, you know, it's like I said, it's validation that what we're doing matters to our customers, and is making a difference for those customers.
Yeah, at the end of the day, that the customer needs to find value. So
Mhm.
congratulations to you guys.
Great. Thanks, Russ.
Thank you.